what he had felt when he was at the back door. When he was at the back door and looked through the hole that was left from the doorknob, he had felt heat and had detected kind of an odor that concerned him. But when he opened the garage door, there was a blast of heat and an overpowering smell, something strange, something that he had not smelled before. And so, being alarmed at the unusual nature of this situation, he decided to go in with some trepidation. He was careful. And the way law enforcement officers go into a house under these circumstances, because there may be danger there, who knows what they might encounter, they go from room to room. They announce themselves as law enforcement officers, and they move through the house in what is called a clear. They're clearing it. And he will tell you that they entered through the garage into the kitchen area, and he's going to describe for you the things that he found inside the house that were very unusual to him. I mean, other than the heat, which he will tell you is, when they looked at the thermostat, the temperatures were in the high 90s, okay? I'm not talking about a warm house. I'm talking about a hot house. And I'm talking about an odor that caused officers to have physical reactions to. In the kitchen of the house, he saw things scattered on the floor, and he noticed towels and bottles of bleach and a bottle of muriatic acid and garbage bags. He noticed that the stove was operating and there was a pot on it. He noticed that the oven was on. He noticed that there was a cell phone on the counter, and on the kitchen table there were 2 wallets that were out. That one looked like it belonged to a female. There was a picture, an ID of a woman on it. The other was brown, looked more masculine. A ball-peen hammer and a vice grip. A lady's purse on the table. It looked unusual to him. He kept announcing law enforcement. And he moved through the house. He went into the dining room, and there he saw weapons on the dining room table, boxes of ammunition in the floor. There were tools also on the dining room table, a screwdriver and what appeared to be a lock set, another doorknob lock set. In the foyer, there were multiple bags from a Walmart that had groceries inside them, including perishables, things like ice cream, bacon, and sausage, the sort of things that you would expect that you would put away in the refrigerator as soon as you came home. Some boxes of beer. And as he went through the house in the downstairs, he just became more and more anxious. There was a little study area, a den. The den contained the door that had the missing doorknob. There was animal waste, feces on the carpet, and urine stains. There was a heater that was plugged in and was operating at full blast. And again, he noticed the thermostat set so high. He goes through the downstairs, and as he did so, he starts to feel fear. And, he'll tell you, he's not ashamed to tell you, it was scary. He began to go up the stairwell, and as he was going up the stairs, he noticed that there were blood drip marks on the walls, and there was blood on the carpet. And, at this point, he will tell you he knew that something terrible was wrong. And at the top of the stairs, he sees this pile of clothing, this pile of bloody clothing and bloody scissors and a bloody knife and a big blood pool. And he looks down the hall and he sees a pair of severed hands on the carpet in a room down the hall. And it freaked him out. His fear turned to horror as he continued to go through the upstairs, clearing, the dogs barking on and off. He goes into the master bedroom, and he sees in the floor a weird assorted jumble of articles that don't even appear to be used. There's a bag of clothes, there is a work light, there's a sledgehammer, there's a portable heater that you can clamp on. It clamps on to a surface. There's a face mask that looks sort of like what one would use to do painting, a more protective mask than the one that I'm wearing. There's a blender and a box of latex gloves, a black garbage bag. A roll of plastic sheeting is on the bed, which is made. Well, it was made and tidy. And beanie babies, pile of beanie babies on the carpet next to all of this. And other articles. I'm not sure that I'm remembering all of them. Bottles of food-grade hydrogen peroxide, like jugs, big jugs. A jug of liquid fire, which is a drain opener. Back in the hall, next to Lisa's clothing, there were 3 empty, big gallon, 5-gallon, I'm not sure how many gallon tubs of something called sewer line cleaner number 2, and an empty bottle of Robic drain opening solution. That was in the hall. So back to the master bedroom. All of these weird, unusual products are here. And the master bath door is open. And of course, he can see what I described to you just a few minutes ago. And it's something he will tell you that he never expected to see. And he can't unsee it. The floor of the master bath coated in plastic, the same plastic sheeting cut from the sheeting that was left on the bed. A garden hose connected to the shower head, a heater running full blast, a knife in the sink, and the remains of what appeared to be human beings. At the time, Detective McCord will tell you he didn't know how many, who they were. He didn't know what he was dealing with. And they continued to clear the house. And in nearly every room in the house, they find evidence. I think there was one room that was used for storage that there was packing. People, you could tell that the homeowners were packing. Things were boxed up. I don't think they recovered anything out of that room. But there's a guest bedroom that they went into. And in that room, on the bed, the unmade bed, there was a laptop computer that was plugged in, a used latex glove on the carpet. There was a backpack in a corner. There was a bloody jug of the same food-grade hydrogen peroxide on the dresser, along with a box of latex gloves, some credit cards that appeared to be issued to Joel Sr., other articles, blood staining on the carpet and a blood stain on the sheet, I think. There's a bathroom upstairs in the hall, sort of a guest bathroom. But I forgot something important in the guest bedroom. There were 2 blue tote lids that corresponded with the blue plastic bins that were in the master bathroom. The lids, 2 lids for these were found. One propped up next to a suitcase that had some rumpled clothing in it, and also one under the bed. So the tote lids that corresponded to the tubs in the master bath were in the guest bedroom, along with a note that was in the suitcase that mentioned a store, had the address of a business in Louisiana. I love this name, Dan Boudreaux's Ace Hardware. in Napoleonville, Louisiana. So that note was in the suitcase in the guest bedroom. So they move on to the guest bath, and it's a mess. There are blood stains everywhere, on the door, on the floor, on the sink and the counter. There's a pile of clothes, like some shorts and a t-shirt and underwear that have some blood staining on them in the floor. Used latex gloves scattered on the countertop, a knife on the counter, bottles of rubbing alcohol, a couple of bottles of those, a couple of bottles of hydrogen peroxide, some medical tape. Looked like someone had treated an injury there. Okay, just blood staining everywhere, and some other first aid supplies. And also on the counter, there's a Walmart bag that contains a receipt, and that receipt depicts the products that were found in the room, and that receipt depicted a date, November the 26th, 2016, and it depicted a time, 15:35:25, 3:35 p.m. And as if all of those discoveries weren't bad enough, go back downstairs after they've gotten rid of the dog that was locked up in a laundry room in this stifling heat. They get someone to take care of the animal, to get it out of the house and to be treated. I don't know, Animal Rescue, the Humane Society. He was animal control, I guess is what it's called. But they go back down to the kitchen, and they open the lid on the pot on the stove, and they discover a human head. And they will later learn that that's Lisa Guy's head cooking. Still simmering. The stove was still on. So Detective McCord and the other officers there, they realize this is a monstrous crime, okay? They're feeling some sense of urgency now to figure out who did this. And they have to take steps to figure out how in the world, what are we going to do? How are we going to solve this? So they do what investigators do, and they interview people. They do a neighborhood canvass. They talk to people in the neighborhood to try to figure out when the guys were last seen, who may have been at the house. They notify next of kin. They discover from Michelle Dennison that she was just there, that she was there on Thanksgiving, that her half-brother, Joel Jr., Joel Michael, they call him, was there. He gets a description of vehicles. He gets on that receipt from Walmart. And when he goes to Walmart to check this out, he's able to talk to someone there who is kind enough to cooperate, and they give him video. They maintain security footage at the stores because of shoplifters and for business purposes. And so Detective McCord is able to, that very day, the 28th, get a video image and a still shot of the person who made that purchase. And he is able to have that person who's depicted in that image identified as Joel and Lisa's only son, Joel Michael Guy, the defendant. And they get an arrest warrant based upon this information and other information. One of the things that greatly concerned them is that in this image that they saw at Walmart, the defendant is his hand is bandaged, okay, and he's buying medical supplies, and he's not there and they've received information that he has gone back to Louisiana, back to Baton Rouge on November the 27th. And so based upon that and other evidence, they get an arrest warrant, and they enlist the assistance of law enforcement officers from the Louisiana State Police, the FBI, and the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office. And all of these agencies work together, and the defendant is arrested, I believe, on November the 29th of 2016. And you will hear testimony from people who saw him there, who will tell you that his hands were sliced. He had a couple of cut marks on his hands. So you will hear that all of the evidence in this case we submit to you points to the defendant as the killer of his parents. And one of the things that we consider in this calculation is, the times of death. The medical examiner and Dr. Marks, the forensic anthropologist, can't tell you how long Joel and Lisa were in those, how long their body parts were liquefying in those tubs. They can't make that determination. But we do know certain things. We know from receipts found in Lisa's belongings where she was on November the 26th, and that she was alive at some point. And we know that from a receipt found in her purse at the scene that she was at this Walmart in Turkey Creek at 12:18 in the afternoon, making the purchases of the items that were found in the foyer. Okay? The receipt, they were able to match up the items listed on the receipt with things that were in the foyer floor. We know that before that, she had gone to PetSmart in Turkey Creek, in the same little shopping center, to get dog food for her dog. And this is a map, an aerial map. You'll see right up there in that corner. That's Golden View Lane, that little red circle. That's how close they live to. This is the Turkey Creek Shopping Center. Here's the PetSmart, and here is the Walmart. So as you can see, she's not that far from the shopping center. She didn't live that far, and I don't know what the traffic was like on that date, but we can assume that at some point she made it home. And we know she made it home because her car was found in the driveway, and the groceries were in the foyer, and you will hear from her daughters that that's not usually how Lisa got into the house. Usually she would come through the garage that they sort of used as a sitting room. They were smokers, so they smoked in their garage. And her typical way of getting into the house would be through the garage door and into the kitchen. It's sort of the logical way most of us carry our groceries in. It's closest to the area where we're going to put them away. But she didn't use the garage entry that day. So we know she got home. We know that her purse was found in the kitchen, her keys, her cell phone was on the kitchen counter. She made it home. So we believe the state will prove that she was murdered between that time that it took her to get home, maybe 12:30 p.m. on the 26th, and before 3:35 p.m., because the state will prove to you 3. And here he is, leaving the store, and you will note this bandage on his hand. Here's a close-up of him getting the self-checkout, getting his medical supplies for his wounds. So now we know he went back to the house, right? We know he went back to the house because the things that he purchased at Walmart around 3:35 are on the bathroom counter. And I want you to look at these. So here's the receipt again. And here's the bag that the receipt was in. Here's a knife. DNA's on part of that knife. There's some hydrogen peroxide. There's some bandages that were recovered. There's some alcohol, rubbing alcohol, this dermaplast, something like that, some kind of first aid spray. And then all of these gloves. This is Joel Sr.'s cell phone. You'll hear from Kim Lowe, special agent with the TBI, that the defendant's DNA was found on 6 of those gloves, inside and out. So, Joel and Lisa Guy were dead by 3:35 p.m. And we believe the proof will show that after the defendant tended his injuries, he went to work on their bodies and did what he did to them. The forensic anthropologist has a nice name for what he did. It's called disarticulation. That's an elegant name for cutting off their arms and legs and Lisa's head. So, planned in advance. He premeditated. He made, after the exercise of reflection and judgment, made the decision to murder his parents. So in the guest bedroom, where you will hear, Michelle Dennison will tell you that that's where the defendant was staying on Thanksgiving, you're going to see that there was a backpack found in the corner of the room. And it was taken into evidence and later inventoried per the policy of the sheriff's office. That's what they have to do when they seize evidence, something like that. They inventory the contents of it. And here it is. And they opened it, of course, and they found instruction manual for residential hot water heater. They found some books, and they found a notebook. And in the notebook, there was a writing, and I want to go through it with you a little bit because it's kind of hard to see like this, but we'll start from the first line. Get killing knives. Quiet. Multiple. Get carving knives to make small pieces. Get sledgehammer, crush bones. And of course, there were multiple knives found at the scene. You will hear there was a knife in the guest bathroom, a knife in the sink in the master bathroom. There were 2 knives next to the pile of bloody clothes that belonged to Joel Guy in the exercise room, and then there was a bloody knife next to Lisa Guy's cut up clothing. There is no evidence that he used the knives to make small pieces other than the hands and head, or that he used the sledgehammer to crush bones. You will not hear evidence of that. Bring blender and food grinder. Grind meat. Well, we will not show you that he did grind any meat, but we will show you that he brought a blender and that in his vehicle that was searched after his arrest in Baton Rouge, he did have a food processor in the trunk. Get bleach, denature proteins. Well, there was bleach, several tubs of bleach in the kitchen. Get plastic bin for denaturation process. And I guess that means for dissolving your parents. Does not matter where they're killed. Just get rid of bloody spots to prevent evidence of time of death, not the mattress or couches. Get rid of bodies inside the house, there and my DNA already there. Because, of course, he had been visiting, so his DNA would be in the house necessarily. I guess that's what that means. He needs to be, I can't read that word, not intruder. Flush chunks down toilet, not garbage disposal. No evidence, ladies and gentlemen, that he did that. But the next line, get plastic sheeting for disposal process. There is evidence that there was plastic sheeting at the scene on the bed where Joel and Lisa Guy slept. Get hollow point bullets just in case. Will be seen buying bullets. Just use computer room gun. Check to make sure there are bullets. Last resort. There were no gunshot wounds to the victims. He's not alive to claim her half of the insurance money. All mine. $500,000. You will hear evidence through Jennifer Whited and through documents from Jacob Engineering that Lisa Guy did have an insurance policy. She was going to be employed until the following Friday after Thanksgiving. And you will see that he was a beneficiary, in fact, to this life insurance policy. Flood the house. Covers up forensic evidence. No evidence that he flooded the house. Turn heater up as high as it goes. Speeds decomposition. Again, thermostats were in the 90s, both upstairs and downstairs. Bleach reacts with luminol, just like blood. Douse area with bleach. Big sprayer. There's a big sprayer in a box on the kitchen floor. I don't know that it had been opened, and I can't tell you that the state will prove that there was evidence that he doused the area with bleach. But there was lye, and he mentioned, it says trash compactor ? The next line is body gives time of death, alibi. Don't have to get rid of body if there's no forensic evidence on the body. His fingerprints and DNA. And that brings us to the severed hands. The severed hands. We believe the state will prove to you that the hands were severed for a purpose. Okay? For a purpose. There's a reason behind it. Minimize, and we're on to the second page of the notebook. Minimize things I touch throughout the visit. Wear gloves and socks to prevent fingerprints and footprints. And as I said, you will see photographic evidence that there were gloves, latex gloves, found throughout the house, boxes of them, in his bedroom.